When I first started this assignment, the idea that immediately came to my mind as a dumb idea was wearing pajamas in public. I've always thought it looked kind of lazy and careless, especially in places like going to class, grocery store, an airport, etc. To me, pajamas belonged at home, in your bed, in your bedroom. They represent sleep and relaxation, so seeing them in public always made me feel like the person didn't put in any effort for the day. But the point of this assignment was to question that initial reaction that we have. And instead of just dismissing the idea, I had to step back and look at it from different perspectives. Wearing pajamas in public is actually very common, especially on college campuses and in casual environments, like getting coffee, anything like that. Some people see nothing wrong with it because they prioritize comfort over their everyday appearance. Others feel very strongly that you should prioritize your clothing in public and you should put effort and respect into the setting. And there are also people who fall somewhere in the middle but don't really care unless the situation calls for a specific dress code. Once I started looking deeper into this, I realized that the issue is not really about pajamas themselves. It's about the tension between comfort and social expectations. Clothing can signal effort, discipline, awareness of social norms, but it can also reflect how people are actually feeling in their day-to-day lives. Some people choose comfort because they're tired, busy, stressed, or simply uninterested in meeting the appearance expectations that feel unnecessary to them. This is where the issue becomes more complex and even a little bit of a problem. It raises the question of how people should be expected to perform effort and respect through their appearance and in public. On one side, people believe that standards matter and how you present yourself respects responsibility, your respect towards others, and your overall appearance. On the other side, people believe comfort and personal freedom should matter more than judgment of others. Both sides are responding to completely different values, which is why the issue isn't that easy to solve, and it's not black and white. In my artifact, I try to represent this tension visually. The piece is entirely in a grayscale, using a range from really dark pictures to very, very light pictures. I chose that because, like I said, it's not a black and white issue, and at first it seems very black and white, but after I thought more about it and realized stuff, it's not a black and white issue at all. And that's why I thought shading in this artifact would be beneficial. The darker side represents judgment, social expectations around appearance, while the lighter side represents comfort and the realities of everyday life, like exhaustion, convenience, stress, etc. Then I put the word comfort in the center because the idea is that's the heart of this issue. Through my research, I also thought about possible ways to approach the issue. One entry point could be challenging our own quick judgments about what people wear in public. Another could involve clear dress expectations in certain settings instead of vague social pressure. A more experimental idea could be designing clothing that combines the comfort of pajamas with the structure of everyday clothes. For example, I've seen and I've worn sweatpants, but they look like jeans, so that kind of blends the two ideas together. Not perfectly, but it's an idea. Another approach could involve public conversations or experiments that show how quickly people judge based off of your appearance, because that's a big thing to some and a lot less big of a deal to others. Finally, an empathy-based approach would be listening to people who prioritize comfort and understanding why that choice matters to them. So in the end of the day, the question, is wearing pajamas in public really dumb, doesn't have a simple answer. While my first reaction was to dismiss it, looking deeper showed it that it connects to the larger question about comfort, judgment, identity, and social expectations. What seemed like a small everyday behavior actually reveals a much bigger conversation about how people present themselves and how quickly we judge others based on their appearances.